All right, so Ruggs is up first. What's up, Ruggs? He says, hello again. Love all the feedback. Last week regarding your preference for building money site content with original content using AI tools at the end, you confessed that you could use the mashup tool Pagerewriter as long as it's rephrased and passes CopyScape. That seems to be a quick and dirty way. What's really the downside? Would Google eventually catch on? I don't know, to be honest, Ruggs. It's for years, we've had a lot of members, students, whatever, that build local sites, and then they would, clone the local sites, and all they would really do is swap out the location tags, right? So the location modifiers on the pages and use it. I never liked to do that. I always tried to use unique content. If for example, if it was a multi-location, it was a one brand with multiple locations, for every location page, I would have original content written, right? Or one of the more efficient or economical ways to do it would be to have original content written. Now, this is before AI writing tools, okay? AI writing assistants and such. But I would have an original piece of content written, and then I would have that piece of content rewritten by like 3 or 4 different others. So I would take one piece of content and turn it into 5 pieces of content, right? Because again, we would have an original, which I would, I always hired like 5-star writers or whatever. So I'd pay a little bit more, but I would have like a 1,000-word article. It might be, $40 or whatever it was. And then I would hire rewrites, but I would have several different writers rewrite that original piece of content so that it was all very unique, right? If you have one person try to rewrite the same thing multiple times, a lot of times it's very, very similar. But if you have multiple writers do it, then it's 100% unique. So that's how I used to do it. But And I always suggested that that's what you should do, because I've always assumed for years now that at some point Google was going to, come slap those sites that would use basically the same content on every page, but just swap out the location information. However, this is, years later, and I've never seen that happen. And in fact, I've had a lot of colleagues or, members of our group and things like that have just use the same content and just swapped out location tags, and they've been fine with it. So, I'm kind of changing my opinion after all these years about it. Mike Martin is the one that actually, he's done a lot of tests with some of his Magic Page stuff, and found that, it's unnecessary to spin stuff. And I think the follow-up question, Ruggs, I read this earlier, is something similar to is what you're actually bringing that up. But, I've started testing with lately, and I found that, yeah, I'm able to actually do just fine with, I like original content on the, the originally we draft content. Now, again, instead of like hiring writers to do it, I've got a blogger that's on salary now that she just generates the content using AI tools, AI writing assistants. And then what I'm doing with that is I'm actually, starting to test with some Magic Page stuff myself, where I'm using the same content and it's not even rephrased. It's just the location tokens that are sprinkled throughout the content are swapped out with whatever the location modifiers are for each specific location. And, it kind of makes sense to me why that would work. In the way that Mike Martin actually described it makes sense to me as well, which was that, you don't have to say the same thing. If you've got 8 locations, right, and they're all they all provide the same services, right? It's for one company and it's multiple locations, and they all provide, the same services at every location. Then is it really necessary to have 100% unique and original content on every page? No, logically, it doesn't need to be, in my opinion, because it's the same services. It's just optimized for that specific location. Like, in other words, it's referencing the specific location that those services are available in. So each location page is optimized for its own location, but the same services, right? And so, like I said, I just started testing with some Magic Page stuff. It's been a long process just to get to this point. And, I'm starting to see, although right now, for whatever reason, I'm having trouble getting anything indexed, not just Magic Page stuff, but it's just indexing is really slow right now for some reason, at least in my experience. So, I don't think it's necessary to have 100% unique content, although that's always what I've said. I'm starting to come around a little bit and doing some testing on my own, and I'll have more information or more of an opinion to share about that in the coming weeks as more of my Magic Page stuff starts to get, be as I develop more of that out is what I'm saying, and start to see how things index and all of that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think, like, for example, my blogger, she, she actually sent me an email a few weeks ago now, and she said, it's exhausting trying to write about tree services over and over and over again. and I said, yeah, I guess so, because I'm, pretty much single industry now, right? All I do is work with tree service contractors. And so I've asked her to write, dozens and dozens of articles for tree service stuff. And it's like, she gets to a point where she's like tired of writing about the same stuff. And I said, well, actually with some of these rephrasing tools that are available now, you can take content that you've already written and just run it through those rephrasing tools. And then obviously swap them out and optimize them for the specific locations and the specific brand that we're going to apply them to. But it makes sense. Think about it. If you build kind of a database of your own, relevant content for whatever projects you're working on, with the tools available to us now, like, and not spinners, but rephrasing tools, you could repurpose that content over and over and over again. So again, back to your original question, Ruggs, for one site, do you think Google would eventually catch on? I don't know. I mean, I've been guessing that they were going to, Google was going to catch on at some point and come slap all the sites that have basically duplicate content except for location tags. But I haven't seen that, right? All these years, and I haven't seen that. So I feel like I might have been doing overkill, but it was always in the effort of trying to prevent, losing a bunch of assets in the future. However, like I said, if I'm going to build stuff manually, perhaps I want to still have it more unique. But if I'm going to be using automation such as Magic Page, I don't see the need for that, like, at least not right now, but that may change, right? So I don't know if that answers your question, but Ruggs, I don't know if Google's going to catch on or not. I can only speculate. And I've been speculating for years that they would, and they haven't to this point. So I to be honest with you, I don't know. I think it's worth testing. And that's why I'm trying to test it. So